So the news is now everywhere. Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol are to rematch, and Dubois versus Joseph Parker will be on the exact same card, February 22nd. This is being targeted for, and hopefully an announcement soon with an undercard, which is looking very good, which I will probably talk about in another video once it does get announced. But right now, let's talk about the two main fights, probably a double headline here. Beterbiev versus Bivol will probably be main event. Then a good co-main event will be Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Fantastic. And, both these fights on the same card, absolutely unreal. I mean, Beterbiev versus Bivol rematch. The hype's still there from the first one, obviously. In my opinion, it was a very controversial decision. Obviously, Daniel Dubois' hype is bigger than ever right now after his big knockout win over Anthony Joshua. And Joseph Parker right now is on the run of his life, so his hype is very high. And I'm very glad that Joseph Parker's in the position to get a shot against Daniel Dubois, because let's be real, star-wise, this is the fight to make. And also, Parker's on a roll right now, and I'm glad that, we're waiting for people like Martin Bakole to, try and prove himself a little bit more, and then possibly a winner between Caballero and Zhang, which is also, I've just said one already. Caballero and Zhang's looking to happen on the card as well, but again, I'll talk about that one another time. But yeah, then you've got like the winner of that you've got those two out who are also possible opponents for Dubois. But I'm glad that Joseph Parker's been the one who's been put forward for this, even though he isn't the mandatory at Dubois. I think Parker's definitely the right choice because of the role he's on, and I think there's no better time to do it than now, in my opinion. Dubois versus Parker, where you've got Dubois who's going to look to try and take the fight to Parker. And then you've got Parker who's going to try and look to box, and let's see if Joseph Parker is smart enough to be able to keep away from, the big shots of Dubois, and can Parker deal with that? Has Parker got the IQ to beat Dubois? Lots of questions will be answered. But yeah, Beterbiev Bivol rematch. People might say it's too soon for both guys to take, and I understand that, to be fair. Obviously, people might have say that both guys need a bit more time to make adjustments after the first fight, because obviously, that was October. They're coming into it in February here, so people will say it's a bit too soon. But from a marketing point, from what the Saudis want, what Eddie Hearn wants, what Frank Warren wants, I think that this makes all the sense in the world, because there's still a lot of hype there from the first fight, and there's still lots of people talking about a possible wrong decision. And Beterbiev also has actually teased this fight as well on his Twitter, saying possible rematch. Should this be a rematch against Bivol? He said something along those lines. So I think Beterbiev knows that this fight's next, and I think it would be very harsh on Bivol not to give him a rematch after his performance first time round. So I'm very glad that this one's happening, and that with the mixed opinions that there were on the first fight, all the talk's still there, and the fight is still very fresh in the minds, and still very fresh in both Bivol and Beterbiev's minds. So a fight in February, a fight very soon after the first fight, I also do think makes masses very interesting as well to what could possibly happen. For Dubois and Parker, as I said, both guys' stocks are higher than ever right now. And I think this is the perfect fight to make style-wise. And I think, let's be real, even as big of a fan as I am of Anthony Joshua, I would rather see Daniel Dubois defend his title against Joseph Parker. I don't think AJ's proven just yet that he's worthy at getting an immediate rematch. So, and also, I think Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua have done the right thing by not taking the immediate rematch. Try and get a big win, try and get a big fight, then you never know. Try and come back and get a fight against Daniel Dubois or Joseph Parker if he wins. Because I think both fights for AJ would be good. I think an AJ Joseph Parker rematch would be much better than what their first fight was. And I think a Joshua Dubois rematch, I think, could be much more competitive than what the first one was as well. So I think it's very interesting. AJ kind of fits into the equation somehow, but I think it's good that AJ's not taking the immediate rematch and Parker's the rightful challenger, because obviously there's been a bit of speculation about Dubois versus Caballero happening, but it's like, I like Caballero, but I feel like, he needs to try and do a bit more. And, and Caballero's on a great path right now, really building up his name. So I think for Caballero, beat Zili Zhang, beat Bicoli, get wins over, or just get a win over one of them, then you've really got your name value up, and you've got a shot, and then you're guaranteed a shot, basically. So I think, yeah, Caballero, fighting one more contender before this fight, I think against Dubois or Parker is the right idea. And Parker's proven himself. He's got wins over Zhang. He's got wins over over Wilder. Sorry. Make it happen. He's on the run of his life right now. His style's better than ever. He seems fresher than ever. Joseph Parker does as well. So, give him this shot. He's very worthy of it. And I'm very glad that Turki Al-Sheikh's held out and is wanting to put Parker in his position to fight Dubois, because I've made a few videos in the past as well saying that it looks like Parker's being done dirty, but really he's kind of being held out for this title shot. But I do think it could have been I do think they could have treated Parker better in the sense of, trying and putting him on like the Dubois or AJ card. That's what they should have done, and then kept Parker active. But it's like you never know. The plan might have been keep Parker out, hand Parker to dry a bit, because obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh wouldn't have wanted Parker to beat Zhang or Wilder, because, they were like the knockout artists. But Parker ended up schooling both of them. And I'm very glad he did, to be fair. But now, hopefully, Parker can get the win over Dubois and make things even worse for the promoters and all that. Because let's be real, Parker's a great fan favorite, and all 100%. But yeah, as I said, going back to Beterbiev versus Bivol now. I think there was a bit of a worry as well that the IBF were actually going to try and ruin this rematch, because it came out and said that Beterbiev was going to have to fight like a mandatory, and it's like, no, at this point we don't want to see the IBF stop getting involved. And thank God, this is being made right now. Or I think it is also a good choice in making Beterbiev versus Bivol very soon, because if we hadn't have, both guys might have had to go their separate ways, because Beterbiev could have been ordered again. But making this fight soon, making sure there's no distractions in between. And, and to be fair, both guys have just fought each other. So it's like an immediate rematch only makes sense as well, especially with, how competitive it was. And yes, adjustments do have to be made. But I do think, obviously, both guys now know each other well. Get back in the gym, make those slight adjustments, and then let's see what happens from there. So I think it's very interesting stuff, this Beterbiev versus Bivol rematch, with how soon it's happening. And it also just makes me think as well, you just know it's going to be another tight fight. But, even though I thought the other one was close, I thought Bivol was kind of hard done by. But now you never know with the rematch what way this is going to go. But I think Bivol's going to have high confidence going into the rematch, because he was able to do a lot of good things with his boxing, and he didn't get knocked out as well. So he knows now, Beterbiev didn't knock him out that first time. So you never know, Bivol might want to take a few more risks this time. That's what I think could happen. Or with Beterbiev, you never know, he might try and stick to the boxing a bit more and try and outsmart Bivol a bit. I mean, you never know. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, these two fights on the exact same card, marketing point of view, this is going to sell pay-per-views, isn't it? And Beterbiev versus Bivol rematch is 100% bigger than what the first one was. So it's going to bring a lot more eyes onto it, especially with Dubois and Parker on the card as well. It's only going to get even more attention. So, yeah, anyway, thanks for, for Dubois and Parker, a Bivol fight on the card gives them more attention as well. So both fights are helping each other out a lot. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is going to be class and Feb in a bit.